Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Rotary Club meeting for the Plano West Rotary Club. This is on Tuesday, June 1st. And this is a special meeting because, one, we're graced by our district governor, Mr. John Mosier, and we're also beta testing our hybrid meeting. So if you look at the Greek Isles window, you see 7 of our club members. They're live. So with that, let me turn it over to our Sergeant of Arms, past President, Mike Walker. Take it away, Mike.
Thanks, Mr. President. It's great to see those guys around the Greek Isles. So as you give me your brag bucks, if you just leave $1 on the table, and I'll come by and pick them up. So with that being said, how about we start with you, Glenn? You ever brag today?
I do. Good. This seems to be working so far. That's my brag. I didn't want a big crowd because I was afraid nothing would work, but we'll build on this. But so far, so good. So that's my
yeah, it works great. Michelle, how about you? You ever brag?
I'm just glad to be here. That's it.
We have another person.
Hey! Let's make room.
We have James Thomas.
Well, you're going to have to mute that bunch of the Greek Isles. Hey, Fred, you ever brag this afternoon? Fred, you got a brag?
Well, this will be my only opportunity. I want to congratulate Julia Lynn on winning the 4-way speech contest at the district level. I'm proud of you.
That's great. Okay, thanks. How about Jennifer? You ever brag this afternoon?
I do. So my International Rotary Fellowship for Healthcare Professionals group, I'm in a part of one of the committees for like safe and sustainable medical equipment donation. And we have our webinar planned this Thursday and Friday, I think. So it's really exciting.
It is exciting. Thank you. Yeah. Julia, you ever brag?
Yeah, I'll brag on the person yesterday. So I work at Chipotle and there was a really nice customer. He tipped us $25 and he also paid for the person behind him. So I was like, that's so nice to see that there's like good in the world.
That's pretty special. Thank you. John Russell, you ever brag?
Yes, I do. I will be sending some information this afternoon about the Children's Advocacy Center of Collin County. They've also asked for our help with an event on July 31st. More information to follow there at 2205 Los Rios Boulevard. So that's 2 that I'm working on, the Brain Injury Network of Dallas and now Children's Advocacy Center of Collin County.
Thank you. Buzz, you have a brag this afternoon?
My brag is the fact that I can join you all for a conversation.
Well, we're glad you're here.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Julie, you have a brag?
Yes, in the May 1st election, I was a candidate for Plano City Council, place 7, and where there were 5 candidates in the race, and I got the most votes out of all the candidates. So that means I'm in a runoff election. Today's the last day for early voting, and Saturday election day. So I've been busy phone banking all morning, and we'll continue after this call doing that. So if you haven't already gotten out to vote, the polls are open until 7 tonight and 7 to 7 on Monday or on Saturday. Excuse me.
Okay, thank you, Julie. Shannon, you ever brag?
I did. I went to go vote today, Julie. So yay. Did my duty. Yeah, and just excited to be here today. Thanks.
We're glad you're here. Let's see. John Mosier, you ever brag? I see you're next to the cruise ship fixing to get on. So before you get on, you ever brag? You're on mute there.
I thought I was unmuting myself. Actually, the ship left without me there. So that was the problem. Yeah, I mean, the brag is you guys are doing fantastic. It's really appreciated. Thank you very much. Yeah, you've helped our dwindling membership immensely, and that's appreciated.
Thank you. Kudos to our president who kind of leads us in that. Thank you very much. Julie Johnson, you ever brag?
Oh, wow. I was not expecting to do one. Today's a great day. I'm having a great day today.
We're glad you're here. Thank you. Mr. Jim Bullock, you ever brag?
Hey, Mike, unfortunately, I'm going to have to end the brags because we have a couple extra ceremonies here today. So I apologize for ending it early. And Jim will be speaking soon. But before we kick off the rest of our meeting, I would like to ask Tamara to lead us in prayer.
Thank you. Let us pray. Father, we just thank you for such a wonderful, awesome day in you, God, for this is a day that you have made and we will rejoice and be glad in it. Father, we thank you for everything, all the blessings that you have blessed us with on this day. And Father, your word says that if we would commit our works unto you, our thoughts should be established. So we just pray that this meeting, the Rotary meeting, you would just come in and establish our thoughts and give us favor in all areas that we need, and that everyone that's on the line that needs a blessing, God, that you would just shower your blessings upon us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Tamara. Next, I'd like to ask Michelle to lead us in the pledge.
Right. Okay, here we go. Join me, everybody. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Michelle. And it makes it very special because yesterday was Memorial Day where we were memorializing those in the armed services that made the ultimate sacrifice. And I hope everybody, had a blessed weekend as they spend it with friends and family and thinking about those that have served our country to the greatest level. Next, what I'd like to do is bring forth one of our guest speakers, Mr. Jim Bullock, and he's going to talk a little bit about the four-way test speech contest. So take it away, Jim.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you so much. Hey, I didn't know that attending lunch at the Greek Isles was an option because, man, that looks good. Hope you all there are having some pretty good food. But hey, I want to take a little bit of time and focus and brag about Julia Lynn. So, as you all know, about 2 weeks ago, we had our district-wide four-way test speech contest. And out of all of the participants district-wide, and so we're talking from Sherman Denison down to Waxahachie, Commerce to Mesquite, all in between, we had 19 finalists. And Miss Lynn was our #1 first place winner. So major kudos to her. The judges unanimously said that all of the speakers were amazing. That was incredibly engaging. The topics were not only creative. These young people not only pulled amazingly creative topics out of current affairs, but the presentations were absolutely driving, heartfelt, very intellectually analyzed, and very much compelling. The judges were overwhelmingly impressed by all 19 of the participants, but they were majorly impressed with Miss Lynn. I think we will see wonderful things from Miss Lynn in the future. Since I'm not there and she's not there, Julia, what you can expect in the mail is a nice large plaque indicating your first place achievement and a check from Rotary District 5810, a scholarship for $1,000. So, Alex, thank you so much for this opportunity. If we were there, District Governor John Mosher would be handing you the plaque and the check. So let's just kind of take a moment and visualize that if we can. John stepping off the cruise ship, the seagulls in the background, the seaweeds blowing, and John waves his hair in the wind and he hands you a check and a plaque. So thank you all. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Julia, do you have any
Thank you,
comments? I'm sorry.
I was just going to say the same thing. Julia is, besides for being this amazing speaker, she actually founded the Clark High School Interact Club, which Plano West Rotary sponsors. She's president of the Plano Senior High School Interact Club, of which we're a co-sponsor. And she leads the fellow interactors on almost all of our service projects. So she is near and dear to our heart. So we were proud and honored when we heard that she won. And so, Julia, take it away. Do you have any words for your Rotary Club?
Just want to thank everyone, of course. It wouldn't be possible without you guys, and you guys are amazing. I've worked with Plano West Rotary for past 3 years, which is kind of crazy. And I definitely hope to continue working with y'all in the future. And I'm excited for things to go back to normal, hopefully. And we can all see each other again. So yeah.
Definitely. And I also want to give compliments to Jenny Orth, who is our 4-way test speech contest chair this year, and who is also an interactor. She's also a Rylarian when she was in high school, and she actually had great experience in, and just for those that don't know, it was not only just what we saw in our club, but Jenny and Julia, they coordinated the All Plano 4-way test speech contest, where we partnered with Plano Metro, Plano Sunrise, and Plano East Rotary. And so, Jenny, do you want to say anything along those lines? Because that was a major undertaking that basically Jenny and Julia partnered on making it happen.
Yeah, of course. I would like to say, first off, I would have not been able to do it without Julia. She is a wonderful partner, and it was a privilege to get to work with her. This is not only our first project we worked together on, but a second one. I'd also like to say just being able to be re-involved in the speech community is wonderful, because I did speech and debate in high school, as Julia currently, or I guess you graduated, so did do. And it was a privilege to get to see all these young voices and all their different passions come together for a singular cause they cared so much about. It was a great reminder that, the youth are going to make a change, and it was just beautiful all around. You're on mute.
I'm muted. Last but not least, we're honored by our district governor joining us on behalf of Julia receiving this honor. District Governor Mosher, did you want to have any comments?
No, I actually don't have any comments other than certainly congratulations, Julia. It's always amazing to see someone step forward and present such a moving tale as you did, and win the contest. And I hope you can use the money. If you can't send it to me, I can use it. But certainly glad to have you, and thank you very much. Just as an aside, has nothing to do with the 4-way speech contest. Michelle knows this. Our district roundtable this month has been moved to June the 26th, where we're going to be doing a service project. We're going to be doing service project part 2 from the district conference, and it's going to be at the Hager Party Barn. So Julia, if you have any interactors who would like to participate and get service hours, Saturday morning, July the 26th. That's all I've got.
Well, thank you very much, District Governor Mosher. That's great to hear. Our club loves service. That's what we dominate on. Well, today, so let me move on, and congratulations, Julia, and thank you, Jim. Thank you, District Governor Mosher. As everybody knows, we are not inducting a member this week. Can you believe that? And so we have a little more time. And for the foundation moment, last week I talked about the importance of district grants and how us of a club participate in that. Then I also want to stress again, because somebody asked me, they were confused on Rotary, global grants, and district grants. And so I just want to give a high level explanation. the Rotary Foundation, which is one of the most respected foundations in the world, they do most of their giving through what we either call global grants, through Polio Plus, and then also at the district level, it's district grants. And we as a club, we are a strong proponent of the Rotary Foundation, because that's why we talk about it every meeting. And how we utilize, a lot of people, they think that the Rotary Foundation is only for global causes, but that's not true. As I pointed out last week, there's a component called the district grant, where based on our level of giving, we receive it. Some years it's been up to $3,500, it depends, and then we can use that locally. And so the way we have used it locally, I think the last 4 or 5 years that we have qualified for a district grant is for our high school scholarships and for Camp Ryla. And our high school scholarship program is going on right now. Gary Busing, our committee chair, I think he's run it for like the last 15 years. He's still taking applications. So if you know of any Plano graduating seniors that are interested in a $2,000 scholarship, talk to Gary. And obviously, because we're Rotary, we focus on service. It's not an academic scholarship. It's not a financial need-based scholarship. It's a service-based scholarship because we're a service organization. And that's where we're using our global grant that we get from the Rotary Foundation locally. Then obviously we add to it, because that's where some people are confused. I'm like, well, I thought we sold pecans for the scholarships. We do, but we give out more in scholarship value than we raise in pecans. So we raise between $4,000 to $5,000 by selling pecans every year. We augment that with the district grant. So that way we're able to give $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $2,000 scholarships, depending on where we're at. We always do a minimum of 3 $2,000. Well, I say always. Recently, we do a minimum of 3 $2,000 scholarships. Last year, we actually did 5 $2,000 scholarships. And so we exhausted our funds. So now we're back to our normal of 3. Mr. Mosier, you had a question.
Well, not a question, a comment. I'd like to expand a little bit on district grants and global grants. When someone gives money to the Rotary Foundation, we ask normally that they give that money to the annual fund. The annual fund is where the money goes to the foundation. It resides at the foundation for 3 years. At the end of that 3 years, half of it comes back to the district, where we can use that money, part of that money, for district grants. So that means when you give money, you're getting money back. The other half of it goes into what's called the World Fund. The World Fund is where we do the international good works. That's where we help do matching for global grants, which is very important. Remember, a global grant at a minimum is $30,000, at a maximum is $400,000. So that's where the matching funds come from, the World Fund. And the last thing I'll say is, of course, the other thing we ask people to give to, and always ask for them to give to that, and that's the End Polio Now campaign. But that's it. Just a clarification on that, Alex. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, and as our club knows, this year, I think we as a club has donated, I think $2,450 towards Polio Plus, which is the most that we've ever done. So as District Governor Mosier said, that's a major component of the Rotary Foundation. And then the third component, of which Catherine Goodwin is the leader, is global grants. And as we've talked before, we currently have a grant team. We're going to be submitting a Rotary Global Grant in the area of Plano homelessness, specifically the ICU project. So this will be an example where a global grant is actually going to be used in Plano, this will actually be the first time in our Rotary district that one has been done locally. And it's on a huge need. We have a number of homelessness advocates in our club that are considered subject matter experts. And so we're really excited that we're going to be moving forward with this. So, all right, that is my foundation moment for this week. Now, what we want to do is I'm going to call out Roxana to do the member moment. Take it away, Roxana. Did we lose her? Oh, we lost her. Well, tell you what, is anybody on our team prepared to do the member moment? Well, we will move on then. I have no idea. Oh, here she is. Rox, you gonna let her? Hey, Roxana, I just called out the member moment.
My internet is acting strange. But welcome to our membership moment. And first of all, I want to talk about a few members. Our dearest member, Wendy Sambu, she had a car accident last week. And she had a back and a neck injury because she was hit from behind. And well, she's currently going to therapies and to the chiropractor, but she's in very good spirits. And Wendy, we wish you a very fast recovery. And also our member Clarence, he's also recuperating. And Glenn and Michelle, they have been in touch with him, and he's also in very good spirits. Also, we're very sad to inform that Caitlin's father-in-law passed away, and so our prayers go out to Caitlin and her husband Ian and all her family. And so now, well, I still need to learn about sharing screen here. And now I can't find it. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, what a truly special occasion today. We're celebrating all of June's birthdays. And we have a lot of June's birthdays. Remember Aziz, Kanjiani, Snehal, Kudadhe, Hina, Kanjiani, Mehir, Hakim, and Lara Johnson, and James Frankenfield. So happy birthday, and may your birthday bless you with everything that puts on you a gigantic smile on your face and a heart that never stops bursting, and as it seems, with endless happiness. Happy birthday.
Hey, thank you, Roxana. Thank you for Roxana. All right, before we move into our speaker, let's do our club business. I want to remind everybody you can order your club bling bling like I'm wearing through our bit.ly Rotary apparel. I know a number of people have been ordering it, and Roxana and her team, they're in charge of it. So if you have any questions, go to Roxana, because I am not involved. People ask me questions. I'm like, you got to ask Roxana, but definitely get more bling bling. I haven't mentioned this before, but you probably received emails. Rotary, for the second year in a row, they've canceled the international convention. It was going to be in Taipei. And because keep in mind, you're like, why are they canceling? Everything's normal. Rotary's global. Everything is not normal around the world. In fact, in some countries, it is the worst it's ever been. People are dying daily. And so as a global organization, we needed to cancel our convention. So what we're doing, it's going to be a virtual again. I went to the virtual last year. It was great. A lot of great information. Over Zoom, you meet Rotarians from all around the world. Same thing. So if you go to this link, convention@rotary.org, you can register for it. After the convention's over, you send the club the receipts of your registration and we'll reimburse you. So we want any and all members to attend the Rotary International Convention. Hey, you don't have to travel. It's over Zoom. So I encourage you to do that. I also want to identify, a number of people know that I get asked from a number of different Rotary clubs to speak on different things. And I had did a presentation for Rotary District 5930 last week. It was for their leadership team. And they recorded it and sent me a copy of it. So if you go to bit.ly Rotary Transform And what it's talking about is how our club utilized Rotary International's strategic planning process to transform itself. As Rotary calls it, Rotary Action Plan. So take a look at it. I linked our Facebook version of it. If you kind of want to see what goes on in the background for all the amazing things we do, go ahead and take a look at it. I also want to talk about, everybody should have received an Evite link from Laura about our installation potluck barbecue on the 27th. I think last time I heard, I think we have about 13, 14 people signed up. Hey, we've got 64 members, so I'm looking to get a lot more than 13. And honestly, spouses, friends, kids are invited as well. So we're looking for a lot of people. This is going to be our casual, out with the old, in with the new. You know, we're not big on formalities as a club because we're a big family, but we definitely want to thank our outgoing board members and thank our incoming board members. Now, in terms of service projects, last week was a light week for us. We only did one service project last week with James and Catherine when we had our food pantry at Armstrong Middle School. I don't know how many people we had, but I heard it went on between the rain. And so, yay, that was actually the last one of the year at Armstrong. We'll start again in the fall. So I guess August, September, James and Catherine will let us know about that. But upcoming, we have obviously a number of service projects. Today, if you haven't signed up, but you still can, help put together hygiene kits at Greek Isles. See, we have 7 people already ready to volunteer today already. I don't know if that, Michelle's running that one, but hey, if you got time, show up at Greek Isles and help put together all the hygiene kits. Remember, we had Lance from Streetside Showers. He was our speaker last week. And so definitely participate in that. Today, this is really a Catherine James thing. We've 3 campuses. I think we served food at, if I remember, what are the campuses again, Catherine?
We are serving, doing curbside meals at Barron Middle School, Clark High School, and Shepton. This morning at 9, we had 3 volunteers plus me at Clark and a volunteer, Brittany, at Shepton. This afternoon we'll have, at 4, we'll have 3 at Shepton and 2 at Clark. And so every Tuesday from now on, you're going to see me looking like this for the rest of the summer on Tuesdays, because I got double duty and a Rotary meeting on Tuesdays.
She's awesome. So if you didn't catch it, for this summer, as continuing our partnership with Plano ISD, we're having volunteers at 3 campuses every Tuesday morning, and then volunteers at the same 3 campuses every Tuesday afternoon. And we are helping the staff, administration of the 3 schools hand out meals to, basically it's the Title I students, and their families are able to come by and get the food. So sign up, go on our website, take part in it. I think we need on average about 15 volunteers in the morning and another 15 in the afternoon. You'll see on the sign up. So do that. Also, we are finishing up our COVID awareness block walking project that we do in partnership with the city of Plano. We have finished the 5,000 apartment complexes or 5,000 units in apartment complexes. And now they've identified another 3 neighborhoods that are about 1,800 homes. And they've, as everybody knows, they provided us with the door hangers, providing COVID education information. And so the plan is to finish it up on June 5th and June 12th. That's Bruce and Antonio are the team leads, and they have a team of Rotarians helping them, and then a lot of volunteers. I know we've had up to 25 volunteers on a Saturday to do it. Now, the rain might delay them. They will figure out whether we need to push it out. Just for those that don't remember, the whole goal on this is historically, like nationwide, Hispanics and Blacks have lower vaccination rates than the other populations. Well, Plano is not a very segregated city, meaning, you know, yes, you could go to the Douglas community. Douglas community is about 180 homes, maybe 50% of them are Black. Well, it's hard to hit the Black community, but there are Hispanic communities. And so that's what those apartment complexes were. Well, then they identified 3 neighborhoods that are predominantly Hispanic for us to provide this information. The city of Plano has told us that because of this project that we've done for 2 months, we've increased the Hispanic vaccination rate by 9%. So we had a true direct impact. And what does that mean? We are reducing hospitalization and we're saving lives. That's what that's doing. And we're getting our economy back in place again. So every one of these Rotary projects that we do, we have a direct impact. It's not just getting it done, we're changing lives, and that's what we value on. And once again, check the website. As Antonio and Bruce and their team change the date because of rain, we will update the websites quickly. And then the last to talk about what's going on in June is I kind of want to give an early notice about the Plano Overnight Warming Station project that Courtney is running. We are having a second orientation. I think we had about 15 at the first. The plan is to have orientations every month to get people that might be interested in being an overnight warming station volunteer. And then we have training, which I was just told was posted on the website in August, that it's the true hardcore 3-hour training. I wouldn't be surprised if Julie's not going to be up there doing part of the training, because her parents are the key people in that Plano Overnight Warming Station project. But our club, we are going to be one of the PALS team. We're the only non-church PALS team. And so it's pretty exciting. I get a lot of people in the community talking about what we're doing to make a direct difference. So thank you, club members. Sign up. The nice thing about this, which I found out when I went through the orientation, we're really not all night. They hire people, security, police, to really do the bulk of the night. We're really there in the evening and early morning. So it's not a 24-hour commitment, which surprised me because I thought it was going to be a 24-hour commitment, but it isn't. So the organization does a great job on maintaining safety, training, make sure you feel comfortable. And really our jobs are just to make sure the guests have dignity, feel comfortable, feel warm, and that they actually survive these horrible cold nights. So I thank you, Courtney, for running that. And this has been pretty exciting. All right, so that's the end of our club business. Now, what's really important, we're going to talk about our guest speaker. So I believe Shannon, well, before Shannon gives a little intro about the guest speaker, I will say I've known Buzz almost 20 years, and I give him credit for 2 significant things. He recruited me into Leadership Plano. That was what, 2003? And he also recruited me into the City House Board of Directors. And those are 2 very significant organizations that I was part of that helped kind of form the basis of a lot of other different volunteering that I've done in the last 18, 19 years. So I thank Bud for that. Bud, sorry, Buzz. He's an old, long friend who I respect a lot, and I'm so glad that he agreed to talk to our club. So with that, I'm gonna turn it over to Shannon. Take it away.
Well, same thing, Alex. I was shocked when Antonio reached out to me and said that I asked if I would introduce Buzz because I didn't think he needed an introduction anymore. He has lots of friends in our club, and you probably know Buzz because he's been a Rotary member since 2009. You might know him through Leadership Plano, Leadership Allen Fairview, or Leadership McKinney, or the dozens of other nonprofits that he's been involved with. He currently serves as a board member for Embrace Texas, the advisory council for Junior League of Collin County, and was recently appointed to the Collin Corporate College Advisory Committee. And professionally, he is the president and chief leadership development coach of Leading Win, a firm dedicated to relevant and accelerated leadership development. He's an amazing facilitator. He's focused on professional development, and he's just an all-around great friend. So Buzz, I'm super excited to be able to introduce you to our club.
Thank you, Shannon. Thank you, Alex. Appreciate it very much. Great to see everybody. And congratulations on the great successes of your Rotary Club. You're doing some outstanding things for our community. And I know it's well received and a lot of people are grateful for what you're doing. So thank you for your efforts. As we begin this afternoon with Memorial Day being yesterday, I wanted to do a little trivia here on flag etiquette. So the question today is displaying the flag horizontally as they do before football games or baseball games, when they do it flat and hold it up there, is that a violation of the flag code? For those of you who are thinking about it, according to Section 8C, the flag should never be carried flat or horizontally and should always be aloft and free. And that was established in 1942 by Franklin Delano Roosevelt in 1942, the federal flag code, then approved by Congress later that year in December of 1942. But we see it all the time at football games. Unfortunately, there are no flag police out there to monitor anything like that. So it's a wide open thing. So there's no penalties or anything or no fines for it, but people just do what they want. So there's a lot to flag etiquette, and we can do a whole section on that. But today I want to talk about etiquette and leadership. And as we begin, I want to share a story about a client of mine in Austin, Texas, who was doing some recruiting for their law firm on a Friday and Saturday. They had about 22 people who they had vetted to interview for the law firm. So they offered a reception on a Friday evening and then scheduled all the interviews for Saturday. Well, during the reception, a lot of the senior partners and managing partners were watching the etiquette and how people handled themselves. And the next Saturday, only 12 of the people who were at the reception of 22 were invited back for the interview due to their poor etiquette and the way they handled themselves and their poor behavior in public. So you think about a law firm, these are the people who are going to represent them. They want them to be more professional about it and so forth. So look at the cut in that. Could have been too much alcohol, the way they shook hands, their body language and so forth. But you think about observing people. So why do those table manners and etiquette really matter in life? First of all, people judge us by our knowledge of table manners. They're watching us all the time, so they're going to judge us about that. But it also builds better relationships. The more they know about you and your professionalism, it's going to build a long-term relationship. People buy from people that they like and respect. So relationships are very important in that key. It also helps you build your own confidence and professionalism to make yourself a differentiator between you and your competition. So the more you can know about etiquette and perform it and understand it and the importance of it, the more successful you're going to be, especially in a leadership role or networking. And just your own personal self-confidence is really huge. Has anybody, just by a raise of hands, heard of Emily Post by any chance? Yes? Well, Emily Post was born in 1872, and she's the guru of etiquette. And in 1922, I believe it was, she wrote her first book, etiquette book. And this is a copy of it. It's currently in its 17th, this is the 17th edition and 89th printing of Etiquette by Emily Post. So we're going to cover this here in 20 minutes, believe it or not, the whole thing. No, not really. But we are going to have some polling questions for you to ask, just basic etiquette things that'll help you improve your professionalism, your self-confidence, your self-esteem when you're in a group of other people. And Antonio, if we can get to the polling questions, the first one, if that is possible.
Yes, Zane should help us out with that.
Okay. Very good. So we got a bunch of questions here. So which way is food, bread, butter, etc., passed at the table? Any way which is convenient, clockwise or counterclockwise? And if you go ahead and answer those, and let's do the second one too, since they're both up there. Did that work, Antonio? Doing both at the same time? Those first two?
Sure. Yeah, all the polling questions are posted at the exact same time, so
Okay.
everyone can see them all right now.
Okay, because I can only see the first two. So which way is food passed at the table? And if you can go ahead and start answering these. When dining buffet style with a group at the same table, when is it polite to start eating? Okay, so let's start with number one. Which way is food passed around the table? The actual correct answer is counterclockwise. And that's for the first time around. So if I'm sitting at a round table with people, say I had the bread in front of me, for example, I would offer it to the person to my left and then pass it counterclockwise. So when dining buffet style with a group at the same table, when is it polite to start eating? Looks like we're seeing when everyone is seated with their meal. Actually, during a buffet is different from a plated dinner. At a buffet, the answer would be number one, when another person is seated with their meal with you. So if I'm the first one to sit down after getting my food at the buffet and somebody sits down next to me or at the same table, it's okay to start eating. The difference when a meal is plated and served to you, it is expected that we all wait until everybody is served with their meal. So the buffet is a little bit different. And let's see. Can we display the third question, which I can't see?
You might have to scroll down.
Okay, I got you. There we go. Thanks. So when somebody presents a toast, everyone should lift their glasses and take a drink. That is false. If you are being toasted to, you remain standing where you are, sitting where you are, without raising your glass or taking a sip of the drink. Then I can do a retoast back to you. If I were to toast the group back, I would raise my glass and toast you and drink. But the person receiving the toast does not raise their glass or take a drink. And if you have any questions while we're going through this, please feel free to interrupt and go ahead and ask. When going up an escalator or stairs, who goes first, the male or the female? The female goes first. The reason being, when you're going up the stairs, if she were to fall back, you're there to protect her. And also when going down the stairs, the male goes first. In case she trips and falls, you're there to protect her as well, which I have a hard time with sometimes because I feel like the lady should always go first or the female should go first, but if you intervene and get in front of you, you can explain, I'm here to, escort you down the stairs. It makes more sense. So it's all about safety. Same thing when you're walking down a sidewalk and the curb, the male should walk on the outside towards the street to protect the female from anything that could be splashing water from a car going by or any kind of protection about that. Number 5, when introducing a business peer to the president of your company, which person's name do you say first? It looks like we got answers on that. You would introduce the president first. So it'd be Mr. President, meet Ms. Director or Mrs. Vice President. So you always go for the hierarchy. So if you remember the acronym HOW, H-O-W, the first clarification is done by hierarchy. So that the title of the person or the rank of the person. The O is for, and this can be really tricky, the older person. If you don't know what the hierarchy is, you would then introduce the older person first. And the W is for woman. If you don't have the hierarchy or the age or the older, you would introduce the woman first. So H-O-W, how. Questions so far?
I have a question. I was wondering, how does your etiquette consider different things like cultural norms? Like, for instance, in American culture, it's not normal for something like if you're sipping noodles loudly, that's considered improper. But places in East Asian countries, it's considered you're enjoying your meal. So how does that take these have y'all taken these kinds of things into consideration before?
It's all about awareness and so forth. A lot of my clients who travel internationally, I will do it's called a country briefing for them on the cultural rules, the do's and don'ts. Do you take your shoes off? Do you bow? Do you do this? And what is acceptable, especially with hand signals and things like that. So it's knowing the culture. And this can be dilemma in the United States, whereas we have so multicultural, what do you respect? So a question I'll ask is, when in America, do you honor American etiquette rules and morals and ethics, or do you do the ethnic thing and do your own type thing? So it could be a really tricky question, but Jennifer, what are your thoughts on that? If I were to move to France or whatever,
Yeah, sure.
French customs, or how do you do it in America? Because we're such a meritocracy here.
No, that's a great question. I mean, from my personal experience, I would research the cultural norms, like where you go first, especially things like simple things like sitting down at a restaurant, if tipping is a thing or not, because a lot of countries, I mean, some countries just don't accept tips. They think it's an insult. So like just researching and being aware, because like you're never fully going to be able to encompass and know someone's culture, especially if you are an outsider, right? So it's just trying to be considerate and knowing your place. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, it can also be referred to as civility in where you are. J.P. Forney worked for Johns Hopkins University, and he did civility in the workplace, and he looked at the 3 R's: respect, responsibility, and restraint. So respect is respecting who you are, respecting other people, and respecting the environment where you are. The restraint is holding back your emotions and not sticking your foot in your mouth too quickly, and just restraining your self-regulation and how you feel about something. An example I use quite often is George W. Bush during 9/11, when he was down in Florida reading to the 3rd grade class, and he was informed that the second tower had been hit. He sat there calmly as to not frighten the 3rd graders in the class and the country for that matter. He sat there calmly and shook his head for a little bit and gradually got up and walked and left the audience and so forth. But that's self-regulation. That's restraint in his emotions and self-regulating how he handles himself in a calm. Because people want a leader who's calm and collected and confident in that way. And that's part of etiquette right there. So the responsibility part of that, the 3rd R, is taking responsibility for your own actions, doing what you say you're going to do, and how do you respect those and so forth. So civility in the workplace is key right now. Incivility in the workplace costs U.S. corporations more than $300 billion a year just by people acting poorly or bad behavior. So the cost of bad behavior is really intense. It could have to do with retention issues, excluding people from a meeting, harassing somebody, and so forth. So civility is a really good focus to learn and respect, as well as etiquette as well. So does that answer your question in a long way? Sorry about that.
Sort of, yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions before we move forward? Where should name tags be placed? Anywhere that is convenient, on your right side or on your left side. On your right side is the best place to have your name tag, as it goes along with the handshake. So when you shake somebody's hand, they're looking right at it. You may see some people in service organizations like hotels, bell people, things like that. They might wear them on their left-hand side. So as you're walking by them, you can see they show their name more. So that would be the one exception to that. What are the 3 top positive observations of a first impression? Posture, handshakes, footwear, eye contact, and the ability to balance a book in your head. Number 1 is posture. Think about that when you see somebody walk in a room. How is their posture? How are they holding themselves? Are they erect and just very powerful and commanding, or are they slouching down kind of like this and whatever, and here I am, blah, blah, blah. But posture is the number 1. Eye contact is number 2. And your appearance and attire is number 3. But think about that when you see a first person, and that first impression can last forever, and a bad first impression can last even longer than that. So think about that first impression and what's happening. Footwear is right up there in the top 5, actually. Have you ever seen somebody dressed in very expensive looking clothing, nice suit, nice business suit, or nice slacks or pants, whatever, and nice jacket. And they've got crappy looking shoes on, to be honest. And it just takes away from the whole appearance part of it. So thoughts on first impressions?
I'm sorry, Buzz, I've missed, what did you say the second one was? Posture's the first one? Did you say what the second one was?
Eye contact?
Eye contact?
Sorry, eye contact, yes.
Okay. And then you haven't told us the third one yet?
It was appearance and attire.
Okay. I'm caught
They're
up.
having a test soon, so everybody should know this.
So handshake isn't on the top three, huh?
No, because handshake might come later in the first impression. That could be a second impression. Does that make sense? Because first, when you first see it, it's that blank of an eye type thing, and there's that first impression. But handshaking, will we ever get back to handshaking after COVID? I see more people starting to shake hands again, but there's about 10 different kinds of handshakes that you may observe, and they really tell a lot about a person. So the normal handshake is just a straightforward web to web, 1, 2, 3. If I were to shake your hand by going like this, that means I'm here to serve you and have an open mind. And another example would be if I have my palm down like this, so to come at you like that, that means I'm looking for power and authority. And I've actually challenged some people to that when they come at me like this and say, oh, you're looking for some power over me, aren't you? That seems like the older I get, the more bold I get with some of this stuff. So, but look at handshakes, that's a second impression, I guess. And, you know, you have the lingering handshake where they linger on forever and ever and ever, they won't let go. That's kind of a control type thing, or they pull you in or push you away. So pay attention to handshakes. And when I'm doing workshops, I consider listening one of the top etiquette competencies you can have is listening to other people. So if you have a strange handshake that's given to you, offered to you, distracts you from really listening and remember the person's name. So set yourself up that expectation that I might receive on my end a different kind of handshake that I'm not really expecting, like the dead fish type thing or whatever. So how do you expect that might happen, get past it, not let it distract you from really listening to the person when you're first introduced to them? So think about your handshake and what message it's setting. I think that's it, right, for the questions? Did I miss any of them? So if you like to stump the etiquette dude, bring it on. Any questions? Except I don't do wedding etiquette. And Julie, as you know, there's election etiquette as well.
Maybe I don't know. You're making me nervous.
Oh, you're fine.
What election etiquette should I know about? It's kind of late now, but.
Hey Buzz, this is Benton Hall.
Hey Ben, how you doing?
Good. I've always heard at a seated meal that you waited to take a bite until the oldest woman or the hostess ate first.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that one more time?
At a seated meal,
Yes.
I've always heard that you wait to take a bite. You wait for the oldest woman or the hostess to take a bite first.
That's new for me, but no, thanks for bringing it up. There's so many rules and things like that that could very well be true. It makes sense. It's just a polite thing to do. And here's another thing I learned. If you're hosting a dinner at your house or at a restaurant, should the host be the first one to finish the meal? And you can take care of everybody else. This one I learned about a year ago from somebody, but hosts should not eat fast. They should take their time so everybody else does not feel hurried. So if I were hosting a group of people and I wolfed down my meal and everything went real fast, that would make everybody else feel like they had to keep up the same pace with me. So the host sets the tone for the pace of the dining experience. And Emily Post was all about the relationship, and all of her etiquette training and thoughts were about providing solutions to social problems. So how do you make somebody feel more confident and at ease when you're with them? So it's making the other person feel comfortable through etiquette.
Hey, Buzz, Jim Bullock had a question. He typed it in, but I'm going to ask him if he could say it. Hey, Jim, do you want to read your question? Or did we? Okay. Oh, here he comes.
Sure. So Buzz, what is the etiquette for asking questions on conference calls? Zoom's a great example, but maybe you're on a business conference call and there are several folks. Do you just jump in with your question, or do you need to? Is there an amount of time that's appropriate for you to ask, so that it's well understood there's a pause or a lull in the conversation?
Jim, that's something that could be set up as the meeting begins. I call them group norms or working agreements. So if I'm saying one of our things is let's hold questions to the end, or that's up to the presenter. The presenter might say, feel free to ask a question anytime, just raise your hand or something like that, and it'll acknowledge you. So it's up to the presenter to set the working agreements for that meeting. So at the beginning of a conference call, you can say, here's how we're going to handle questions and the presenters and so forth. So everybody's clear on it up front.
Thank you, sir.
Anything else? I think we're just about out of time, aren't we, Alex?
Yes. So any closing comments if we don't have any extra questions? Fellow Rotarian Buzz, you want to close it out for us? Your presentation?
I'm sorry, what was that, Alex?
Did you have any final comments to close out your presentation?
Buzz, I've got one more question.
Yes, sir.
What do you do with your napkin when you're done with a meal?
Great question. That was going to be my closing comment. Your napkin is, I'll do it in two parts. First, if you go to use the restroom or need to go make a phone call, you just rest your napkin on your chair. Your napkin is the last thing you put on the table, and that's the last thing you do as you're getting up to leave the table. You don't put it on halfway through the meal. You don't put it on when you're done. You don't, or 10 minutes before you're ready to leave. It's the absolute last thing you do as you're getting up from the table, and you take the napkin. Say, this is my napkin here. And you would take it like this, like that, and just place it on the left-hand side of the table. That means you're done. Get up and leave.
Very cool.
You said left side?
Yes.
Oh, when you finish your meal, to indicate to the waiter or waitress, aren't you supposed to put the fork and the knife parallel to
Yes,
each
put them at 4 o'clock, and the sharp side of the knife, the blade should be facing inside. So you have the fork on the left and the knife on the right at 4 o'clock. A lot of that's too, it's a signal that you're done with your meal, but also when they pick up your plate, they can just grab that there and do that.
Excellent. Buzz, thank you very much for speaking to us. It's been great to have you. And as you can tell by the number of questions, everybody's very interested in hearing what you have to say on the etiquette advantage of leadership. One thing we do as a club, as you mentioned earlier, the Polio Plus is a very important initiative for us. And so in appreciation for your time and program, Plano West Rotary will donate $10 in your name to Rotary's Polio Plus Fund. Then together with the 2-to-1 matching funds from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, that $10 will turn into 30, which will provide a polio vaccine for about 50 children. And we also like to let everybody understand that Rotary is using our polio infrastructure to aid in the vaccination of COVID-19. So your donation will support not only Polio Plus, but also COVID-19. And so thank you very much for speaking to us. And we look forward to you joining us on a service project, because we get many members from your Rotary Club partnering with us. So we appreciate that.
Thank you. Very thoughtful. Appreciate that very much. Great to be with you all.
Now, before we close up, I want to remind everybody next week, we're going to have Jerry Chambers, one of our favorite Plano ISD trustees. She's coming back to talk about the Collin County Economic Assessment, and which is very informative. I've seen this presentation before. That's why I asked her to come speak. So if you want to understand the direction of Collin County, of which Plano is a major force behind it, and you just want to be around with great people, come. And we've all heard Jerry speak before too. So let's come back next week and hear Jerry talk about the Collin County Economic Assessment. And so to close out our meeting, we are going to have our program chair, Antonio Harris. He's going to lead us in the four-way test. Take it away, Antonio.
All right, guys. Four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. For number one, is it the truth? Number two, is it fair to all concerned? Number three, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Number four, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Rotary.
Rotary. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great week.
Come out here.
Bye.
1.1 miles.